god. Last time I'll go towards something ominous. But I got to...
This is new.
Agreed. Sorry, is this your place?
Oh, I see what's going on here. It's
Good, because I'm really confused right now.
seems the YouTube gods demand another crossover. I think this is another crossover. I'm not really sure about the last guy, but
Okay, so what's the video then?
well, I was intentionally gonna do the Children of Loki. I can still do that if you want.
But in the movie, Loki doesn't have any kids.
Oh boy, looks like this one has a lot to learn about. Speaking of learning, hello internet, it's me again. And, also, what's your name?
Spike.
Nice. Anyways, we're gonna be talking about the children of Loki. First off, I want to just say is, no, we're not gonna be talking about Loki completely. He deserves his own video. We're only gonna talk about his children and his consorts, and the time he turned into a female horse just to give birth.
Did you just say
But first, let's get to his consorts, Sigyn. Now, both Loki and Sigyn both have two children, Vali and Narfi. Sadly, we don't know too much about Vali and Narfi, but what you do know is that they were very important for a myth, where Loki might have caused the death of Balder, soon found out for his might accidentally gotten someone else to kill him. They decided to capture Loki. Then the Asgardians decided on a very, very subtle punishment for killing the most beloved god. By killing Narfi by turning Vali into a wolf, then using Narfi's entrails to tie up Loki in a cave while they put a snake that drops venom on his forehead.
Is this the gods or a freaking mafia?
It is a bit brutal. Let's just say, mostly because Loki wasn't the most faithful husband, and had an affair with a Jotun, by the name of Angerboda. So when Odin heard about this, he actually sent Thor and Tyr to go fetch the children. So
If two large, good-looking people tell you they're taking you to Asgard, run.
when the children were brought to him, he was able to make decisions on where to go. We'll talk about what he does with the children, starting off with...
Ooh, I'll do this part. So Fenrir is the first of the three of Loki's children, and when Odin saw him, he was fine with it. During his time in Asgard, it was pretty much Tyr taking care of young Fenrir. Good parenting, Loki. Good parenting. But while he stayed there, he grew bigger and stronger, where it got worrisome, so they decided to play games with him. What's the game? You break, you win. Man, that sounds like some Russian stuff. Round 1, already broke. Round 2, already broke.
Yeah, this ain't working.
So, new plan. This time they asked dwarves to craft something to hold down Fenrir. Question, how do you make something that's impossible to break? You craft it from impossible items, like the sound of a cat, a woman's beard, roots of a mountain, sinews of a bear, a fish's breath, and finally a bird's spittle. Apparently it's the bird's spit. And all together, they make Gleipnir. Norse is harder, right? But anyways, Gleipnir, a powerful they expect to hold down a demigod with a ribbon? What is this? So when the gods returned, they asked Fenrir to just test his strength. But he was skeptical, so we asked one of them to test to see if it was not a trick. Only one agreed to it, and it was Tyr. And when he knew it was a trap, he chomped, swallowing the hand. Still, no matter what he did, Fenrir could not break the ribbon. Boy, it's a ribbon! Then, if that wasn't enough, one of them drove a sword through his mouth to gag him, then left him as his saliva created rivers. Eee!
Trust me, that ain't gonna be the weirdest thing you're gonna hear today.
Fenrir is also connected to Norse runes, and also in one of the major players in Ragnarok.
Don't forget his children, Hati and Skull, and how those two basically just chase the sun and the moon every day. But I feel like it's time for us to move on to the next child, Jormungandr. So as Fenrir was sent out to be fostered by the gods, our little sneaky friend was sadly sent out to the ocean. But during his travels in the ocean, he realized he was a bit hungry. So what do you feed a snake when it's hungry? Well, obviously ocean water. Duh. And because of his eating, he had some side effects, we can say. But right now, let's continue on a little misconception that people think. First of all, people would obviously think Thor's enemy would be Loki. This is far from the case. Thor's archenemy would actually be Jormungandr, and for a second would be wedding dresses, but we don't talk about that today. But faithfully, these two cross paths. Well, not the wedding dress, that was basically a one-time thing, I think. But no, it was when Thor met Jormungandr, let's just say, at a bigger perspective. To sum it up short, basically Thor and Tyr needed to get a new kettle for this Jotun called Aegir because he makes the best parties. But in order to get that, they had to go to Tyr's father's house. But when they finally made it to Tyr's dad's place, by the way called Hymir, Thor decided that they should go on a nice little fishing trip, or Hymir decided, it depends. And it was a nice little fishing trip until Thor brought out a freaking boar's head that was able to lure out the freaking Midgard serpents. Sure, at this point, Jormungandr grew up so fast to a whole freaking level. Thor was finally happy to be able to fight the Midgard serpents, but Hymir wasn't so excited and he got totally scared about the fact that Thor might cause Ragnarok. So what he did is he cut the line and then paddled the hell out of there. Don't think that'll be the last time these two will fight, because in Ragnarok, Thor actually dies to Jormungandr, while Jormungandr also dies to Thor. And then Thor dies 9 steps after being succumbed to his poison. Well,
Nessie has nothing on him. Next up, Hel. H-E-L, not H-E-L-L. Hel is the youngest of the three, and was decided by Odin for her to live in Helheim, where she looks after the dead that either died of sickness or an unholy death. Hel is usually seen as beautiful on one half, but not so pretty on the other. She's always seen with a dead look on her face.
Can you really blame her? She was kinda raised up in the most depressing place for a child.
Hey, me too. Yeah, it's called school. But besides that, she quickly made her own hall called Flendinir. It's hard. It's the home of the dead. Inside, she has 2 servants, Ganglodi and Gang... Elder, were they in a...
Yeah, those two are not in a gang, but one thing you should know about them is that they barely move. Like, barely. Like, they take an hour.
But Hel herself had a plate called Hunger, and her knife was called Famine.
And she also had her bed called Sick Bed. Oh, wait, no, not that type of sick. There we go. And don't forget the myth about Baldur.
So in that place, where I am not going to try to pronounce again, there was Hel and Herman, son of Odin, and he said,
So, do you think we could get Baldur back? Because, this little mishap happened, this and that. So, could we just get him back? That'd be great.
Listen, if you're gonna want him back, I want you to do one thing. Try to make the whole cosmos cry for him. Then I might consider it.
You just want to keep him because you like him, huh?
So of course everyone cried for his death. Everyone, except that giantess, who was really Loki, who was saying,
"He deserves what he gets. Let Hel keep him. I will shed no tear for that man."
and that's the fate of Baldur and Odir, and his wife, who also joined along, to stay in Helheim for the rest of eternity until Ragnarok. Speaking of which, we don't really know what Hel's purpose is in Ragnarok, but all we do know is that she also has a kid.
What?
Well, yeah, the one and only Krampus. Yeah, the Krampus that steals naughty children.
Wait, then who's the dad?
Well, I did make some theories, but most likely, if there's a goddess and the father figure's missing, just blame Zeus. Now with her out of the way, we have one more child, and I swear this is the last one. Sleipnir, the horse of Odin, and also Spider-Horse. But this story starts off with the gods having a council on one problem. The fact that they're basically defenseless without Thor, who's busy always beating up Jotun. So they all decided that they needed a wall. Luckily, a guy came up out of nowhere and said, "I can build a wall for you. One that even the highest Jotun cannot reach, and not even an ant can pass through the cracks of the wall." Gods agreed that this wall would sound pretty good, so they asked him what his payment should be. He immediately asked for 3 little small things, the sun, the moon, and also Freya. Just literally Freya. Of course, his payment got shot down along with his agreement, until one voice convinced them all.
Guys, come on. This wall is gonna sound great. How can we pass up an opportunity like this?
Listen, how about we just set him up on some conditions and he will fail? Then we'll take whatever you have of the wall and just add on to it. Obviously, this will work. It will keep our beautiful moon, our sun, and Freya. So they call him back and agreed to his little plans, but set him up on some conditions. 1, he has only the winter to build. 2, he cannot have any help, but he only asked for his horse help. They agreed on that, and allowed him to use his horse. Immediately next day, however, he was already building most of the wall, and also getting large supplies. So when they realized he was nearly close to finishing the wall, they asked Loki, by asked I mean force, to fix the problem before they kill him. Brutally. With no other choice, he decided to go spy on his little builder and realized that his horse was actually the one doing all the heavy lifting, so he thought of a nice little scheme. Meanwhile, the totally normal builder was realizing that he only needed 1 more block away from getting his 3 treasures, so he decided to call his horse Swalsafari. But then it didn't respond, so he called again. And finally, he notices his horse was staring at something in the forest. A beautiful female horse. Yeah, you could probably guess where this is going. And we noticed that the horse was leading away Swalsafari. So then the builder had to go chase Swalsafari into the forest. But when he came back, he was far late for the due date. But then when he came back, he revealed his true form as a mountain Jotun. So you're probably thinking, how do you deal with this situation? Well, just send in your thunder god. But for the strangest reason, Loki seemed to be missing. Kinda weird, he would want to celebrate this, but he was just gone. Until 2 weeks later, where they found him with a little companion, a horse that would nudge him, the same way a baby horse would nudge his mother.
Wait. He's there with a what?
Yes, but for the sake of not having that image in our heads, let's just move on. The horse was 8-legged, and it was faithful to Odin, following him into battle. I can only really imagine how awkward it was for both of them. He can run on air and water and through any other realm. He's even nearly just as fast as Gullinbursti. And I believe that settles everything. Yeah, the children of Loki. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and comment down below. Subscribe if you want to. And I hope you all enjoy. And remember, comment down below and see what kind of god or story you want me to cover. And I see you all next time.
Well, that was fun and pretty much scarred me because of that horse incident. Alright, now how do I get out of this place?